So if you're someone who rides a bike or a motorcycle every day, you definitely know that feeling. The moment you pull off your helmet and your hair is just this flat, kind of sweaty mess. It's something we all deal with, but it also brings up a bigger and honestly a more worrying question about what's really happening to our hair. It's that nagging fear in the back of your mind every single time you gear up, you see a few extra hairs in the drain, and you immediately think, oh no, it's the helmet. Is all this daily pressure and rubbing actually making you go bald? Okay, let's just cut right to the chase. The simple, science-backed answer is no. Whew, your helmet is not the direct cause of permanent hair loss. You can take a deep breath, but that's not the whole story. So, if the helmet isn't the villain we've made it out to be, what's actually going on? See, to really understand how to protect our hair, we first need to bust this myth wide open and look at what really causes hair to thin out for good. You know, the real culprits for permanent hair loss are almost always happening on the inside. We're talking about things like genetics, yep, you can thank your parents for that, or big hormonal shifts, not getting the right nutrients in your diet, or even certain medical conditions. A helmet just sitting on your head, it just doesn't have the power to shut down your hair follicles.
Right, so while your helmet isn't making you bald, it's not totally innocent either. It doesn't cause that permanent loss, but it can absolutely create an environment that leads to some very real and very annoying temporary problems for your scalp and your hair.
So let's get into it. What exactly is going on in that warm, dark little space between your scalp and your helmet liner? It all really boils down to two main issues that kind of work together to wreak havoc up there.
First up, and this is the big one, sweat buildup. Think about it. Your head sweats, and that helmet traps every last drop. That mix of sweat, your body's natural oils, and all that heat creates the perfect storm for an irritated scalp. If you've ever dealt with a sudden case of dandruff or a super itchy head after a ride, this is almost always why.
And the second problem is just simple friction. I mean, hour after hour, day in and day out, that helmet padding is rubbing against your hair. That constant stress can physically weaken the hair strands and lead to breakage, especially on those finer hairs right around your hairline. Okay, so here's the good news. Since these problems are all about the environment under the helmet and not some deep genetic issue, we can totally fight back. There's no need to sell your bike. You just need a simple, consistent protection plan built on a few really key habits. Let's break it down. Number 1, wash your hair regularly. You've got to get all that sweat and gunk out. Simple. Number 2, clean your helmet padding. It soaks up all that same stuff. Third, and this one is so important, always let your hair dry completely. 4, make sure your helmet fits well. It should be snug, not painfully tight. And finally, using a lightweight conditioner can make your hair a little slicker, which really helps cut down on that friction and breakage. Now, out of all those good habits, there is one common mistake that a lot of riders make that completely undoes all their other efforts. It causes the most significant problems for your scalp, hands down. So what is it? What's the one habit that is an absolute non-negotiable, a total deal breaker if you want to keep your scalp healthy while riding every day? This, right here. Never, ever put your helmet on over wet or even just damp hair. It is without a doubt the single most damaging thing you can do. It might seem like a quick way to save a few minutes in the morning, but trust me, it's a huge mistake for your scalp. So why is it that bad? Well, because you're basically creating a swamp on your head. You're trapping a ton of moisture with zero airflow, and then you're adding body heat to the mix. This creates the perfect, cozy breeding ground for all the fungus and bacteria that cause dandruff and really bad scalp irritation. It is just a recipe for disaster. All right, so you've got the core habits down, and you know the number one thing to avoid. Now let's talk about one final pro tip, a super simple, cheap, and crazy effective way to add an extra layer of defense for your hair on every single ride. Just use a clean cotton bandana or one of those special helmet liners. And what's so great about this is how this one little piece of fabric solves multiple problems at the same time. It acts like a sponge, soaking up sweat before it gets to your scalp. It creates a physical barrier, which slashes that friction. And hey, as a bonus, it keeps your actual helmet padding way cleaner. So let's just boil it all down. The myth is that helmets cause baldness, but the truth is that poor hygiene habits, especially just letting all that sweat and oil build up, that's what can damage your scalp's health and weaken your hair over time. The power to fix this is completely in your hands. So at the end of the day, it's really not the helmet you should be worried about. It's the habits you build around wearing it. A clean scalp and dry hair are your absolute best defense. So now that you know the truth, are you ready to change up your routine and keep your hair going strong ride after ride?